wonderful day. This is Tuesday. It is the 8th, I believe it's the 8th. Let's see, let me look at this. The 8th of August in the year 2023. And I am so glad and so thankful to God because He has blessed us to live to see another day. And because of that, I am grateful, grateful, grateful. I've got to take that logo off of there. So let me go and take that logo off of there. But it is such a wonderful day. And what I'm going to do is go and find my live here. Find my live here. Let me see. I'm going to try to get the right one. So I hope everything is well with you. As I already said, I'm just so thankful because we are blessed, as I said, to see another day. And because of that, I am just grateful, grateful. Dear God, as I sit before you to speak, I pray to you that my soul you will keep. And if I should die before I finish, I pray to you, dear God, in the name of Jesus, that any outstanding sins will be forgiven. Amen. 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 Today, my topic is the difference. Is there a difference between maturity and growth? Is there a difference between being mature and growing? So I found some information on that days ago. This came to me. So I want to go into my first one here about growth and maturity. So we hear people say, "Why don't you just grow up?" They ought to grow up. They haven't grown up yet. They're not mature, and people put mature and growth in the same bag. But we want to find out, is there a difference? What is the difference between maturation and growth? So I am in Wiki. It's wikidif.com. Wikidif.com. So I'm going to go here. And the growth is a synonym of maturation. Okay, so in biology terms, the difference between maturation and growth is that maturation is the process of differentiation that produces the adult form of an organism, while growth is something that grows or has grown. Then, as a noun, the difference between maturation and growth is that maturation is the process of becoming mature, while growing is an increase in size, number, value, or strength. How about that? Whoa, that is the difference. Now, I'm going to try. I just fired up my older laptop here. So I'm going to go back and pull up some more information on this. The difference, oh, it's working well. Whoa, looky here. Looky here. Study.com Academy. I don't think I'm going to that one, but I want to explain the 12 principles. Let me see here. I'm going to get this. I had all this. I had emailed it to myself, and but there are some different ones here now because I couldn't get to those emails like I wanted to. So the concept of growth, development, and I'm pulling it up right here, trying to pull me up here on the screen on the YouTube, trying to get me on there. So let me go back and get, because I should be on here live on there. Concept of growth and development and maturation. And this is WID education. No, this is wide education. wide education. So let me see here. Is this it? Let me see. I am trying to get there. But anyway, growth, development, maturation, approaches of human development. And this is the course here. An understanding of the nature and principle of growth and development is very essential for the realization of the aim of education, either the maximum growth and development of personality, physical and motor development, cognitive, emotional, social development of the child. He can do it only if he has a thorough knowledge of growth and development at various stages. Now, what is the meaning of growth here according to this? Let me get this to do this yet. You know, when you go to these sites, they want to send you information, so I will have them do it because when I use their sites, I know that I should, let them send me some information. So that logo up there is a church logo, but that's okay. We're all related. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being with me. Meaning of growth. Growth term is used in a purely physical sense. It generally refers to an increasing size, length, height, and weight. Growth is one of the parts of the development process. Growth is not a continuous process. It starts with conception, but ends at some particular age. So it refers to changes in structure or physics only. All right, talking about growth. So development refers to structure, form, or shape, and improvement in functioning. It is the progressive sense of changes in an ordinarily coherent pattern. If you heard that these people drive up this avenue since they've paved it and made it really nice in two or three of our blocks here from my house, my block, and then they just finished the other block, and then there's one down the way. And these people, I'm telling you, I'm not exaggerating, they drive like they are on the freeway. Some of them do. So if you heard that, you heard an example of it. The difference between growth and development. Growth. It refers to increase in size, height, and weight. What is development? It refers to change in the structure from form or shape and improvement in functioning. This has so many typos, but I'm going to use this information because thank God I went to school and I think I got a great education. I think I did with the college and all that added to it. I really believe I did. So I believe I can decipher this, okay? Because this is really good. Some, like I said, some people, you ought to grow up. You ought to grow up. You're not mature. You're not mature. So there is a difference in growth and maturity. So growth is a concern with the change in a particular aspect, and development implies the organization of various aspects of the body and behavior as a whole. And then we go back to growth again. It's measurable. Development is observable. Okay. Now, maturity is the end point of growth. Development does not end but continues throughout life. How about that? Growth is physical. Development can be physical, social, emotional, and intellectual, etc. So it can be all of those. Growth stops at a point. It stops at a point, but development, maturity, it continues, okay? Growth is quantitative and development is qualitative, okay? Woo, woo, woo. Look at us. We are getting it today. Number one principle of uniform development pattern. In human beings, let's try to go dark on. In human beings, the process of growth and development following in human beings, a process of growth and development following a definite. Okay, all the development directions and sequence are all most the same for all children, but each follows his own time schedule of growth. And so that is for real. See, we compare so many times, we compare people to each other, but we all have a different stage of growth and development. We all are different. We're human beings, but we're all individuals. We're all different. I developed at a different stage from somebody my age. My development and my growth and my maturity, they were different from theirs. Even though we were the same age, there was some difference somewhere. Some things I might not have understood at the age that I was, that my person that was the same age as me might have understood. And some things I might have understood that that person didn't understand or had not reached that area in their lives. So there is a difference. There is a difference. So all the development directions and sequence are almost the same for all children, but each follows its own time schedule of growth. Number two, principle of development speed variation. This is wideeducation.org, wideeducation.org. And I haven't been on this site before. So this time. So it is observed that the growth and development become very rapid in infancy or early years of life, and later that speed decreases rapid from the 2 year and then 11 to 15 years. And so we know how babies grow. They grow so fast. We see them, they're newborn today. We see them 2 or 3 days later, and they have already grown some. They've already filled out some, if they're going at the normal rate that they're supposed to go to. So babies grow fast, just like this person is saying. Number three, principle of development direction. The growth and development has got its own direction. It follows a cephalocandal sequence, which means that the human being grows from the head downwards. Yeah, because we see people that have, and we say that, oh, that person sure does have a big head. But then it says that they grow from their head downward, so their body fills in, and then it makes their head seem not so big in normal cases, okay? Because we know probably every one of us has called somebody big-headed. And then we see them later on and they filled out in the body, and the head doesn't look as big as it used to before they filled out. They grew. So anyway, yeah, we've done that. Oh yeah, I know I have. Your big headed thing. That's what we say. We have done some things, haven't we? We have done some things, but by the grace of God, here we are. Here we are. We have grown up. We have matured. We have grown in stature, and we have matured in our minds. And oh my goodness, this is so good. Hi, thank you for being with me. The growth and development has got its own direction. It follows cephalocandal sequence. I want to look that up, but this computer might act up on me, and I don't want to mess up something. Which means that the human being grows from the head downwards. First, a body and legs occur, okay? Then the child's first attempts to move his head and then try to sit, walk, or run. The principle is based on the physical development of human beings. And that is so true. This makes sense because when the baby is newborn, 99.9%, they really don't have control over their heads. And then, then later on, it gets stronger and it grows more physically, and then they're able to move their head and lift their head up. And then finally they're able to like lie, they might not crawl, but you can lie them on their stomach or lay them on their stomach and they can lift up their head. So I see that now. First of the body, then the legs occur. First the body and legs occur, and then the first attempts to move the head and then try to sit, walk, or run. This principle is based on the physical development of human beings, the physical development. Number 4, the principle of proximodistal sequence. Proximodistal sequence. It means that the development takes place from center to periphery gradients. The spinal cord of the child develops first, and the outward development of the heart and chest, and then etc. So the spinal cord develops first. So that's why we were able to lift our heads up, and when we were lying in our mother's arms or whoever's arms, and when we first started, we could move our heads up. Oh, this is so neat. Hi, thank you for being with me today. So the principle of continuity is the next one. That's number 5. The process of growth and development continues from birth to death in some form. The rate of development process may not be even, but it never stops until the mental and physical trails reach their maximum in the individual. So it says the process of growth and development continues from birth to death. All right, number 6, the principles of general or to specific development. Development proceeds from general to specific example. The child learns first general concepts and then make depth or specific studies. First, the child learns to control his full hand, and later he tried to control the movement of the fingers and his hands. So first it said controls the movement of the hand, and then later on the fingers and the hand. Wow, this is neat. These people just study everything. We know this. Number 8, the principle of accumulation and recapitulation. The development is always cumulative and recapitulatory. It is the sum total number of events and experiences of the child, and is not based on single events or change. Development is called recapitulation because the characteristic of on stage can be established in other stages. In one stage, I believe that's supposed to be one stage, because the characteristics of one stage can be established in other stages. And the example is self-love of earlier years may also be observed in the adolescent years. Number 1, we're going to talk about infancy. Development characteristics of the stage. The major development of this stage of infancy are given below. So we go there. We're talking about, the question is there a difference in growth and maturity? So I'm on this right now. So the first 3 years of the life of a child are marked by rapid physical development. The size and weight of the child increase quite rapidly. And we know that for a fact, okay? So it follows the low cephalocaudal and proximodistal sequence. Infant begins throwing it at 6 months. He can throw a ball by 1 year. He play catch by 2 years and has considerable skill by 6 years. I like this, but it has so many typos, but I can get around that. Language development, and sometimes it's not the, like I was saying, it has so many typos, and sometimes it's not the person that's doing the typing. Sometimes these typing these, what is it, automatic corrections and all of that. Sometimes these things take over, and sometimes if we don't go back and proof it over and over again, sometimes we miss some things. So I am not blaming anybody for these typos, okay? So in the infancy stage, the child can only giggle and cry and express its pleasure and pain, do expressions of pleasure and pain. Talking about the language development. So he can later on only a few words like mama and papa. He can later, our children, and most of the time, in our, we say, dad, 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 mama, mama. Yes, we do that. Okay. So during this stage, the child, in talking about the language development, gives expressions on to the basic of its basic needs. And then language development is affected by the socioeconomic environment, because we have heard some children, and some of our children have been able to form sentences at a much, much earlier age than is normal, or, some of them, some of these children, and like we've seen children that have graduated from school like very early, almost in elementary school, and then gone on to college. So we know that these things happen. So the rapid increase in vocabulary, and the child can express his thought and emotion in a simple sentence. In the rapid increase in vocabulary, and according to Smite, at the age of 8 months, he learned no word. So I don't understand that. So I am going to go back and get another site talking about the difference, because I did have the growth and maturation. What's the difference? What's the difference? And this is an April let's see, 23rd, 2020 uh, article here, and this is Statera is coming up. But is there a difference between maturity and growth? Growth and maturation, Statera.uk. Okay. Growth and maturation, what's the difference? Growth and maturation are two key terms that must be understood in the context of training youth athletes. Okay. So while they are often lumped together as a catch-all term, despite being related to one another, they should actually be considered separately. Growth. This can be considered to be changes in terms of size. For example, our height will increase, bones will lengthen and thicken. Our body composition will also change. However, body composition can also continue to change or grow through increases in fat and or muscle mass well into adulthood, and we all know about that, don't we? So it's important to remembering that growth does not just stop when we get to adulthood. So therein lies a key difference between growth, a key difference. Growth does not have a fixed end point. And I think I did say, because one of those, the first articles I started on when I started this cast today, it said that we do stop growing, but these other pieces have said no, we don't. Not, sometimes physically. We know that things happen and just changes happen to our bodies physically. Yes. So maturation. What is maturation? So I corrected that. Okay. Although it might seem more complicated due to its varied processes, maturation is quite simple to understand. To simplify, it's the journey starting at the moment we are conceived through to full maturity. It has an end point, although that might differ in timing and occur at different speeds in each of us. And I did say that, didn't I? With a little bit of, and this says luck, okay? So I didn't write this. So they said with a little bit of luck, we all get to full maturity. So here we go to an analogy. Salmon, and I used to say salmon, okay, but my children got on me about that and said correct pronunciation is salmon. Okay, even though it does have an L. All right. Salmon farming, growth and maturation. This is an analogy, okay? We're talking about the question is there a difference between growth and maturity? And so we're finding out that there is a difference. I'm going to try to see if I can get my live because I know I am live. So what's going on? Why can't I get to my live on here? I don't know. Maybe I'm on the wrong thing, but would you just uh, bear with me because I like to monitor. I'm going to monitor on the TV set, the other TV, the big TV. So I think there it is. I just want to see how my background is looking. Okay, that looks fine. That looks fine. Hi. Okay, got it. Now, talking about the analogy. So where does salmon farming come into it? Well, if you put yourself in a salmon farmer's boots, you want your salmon to grow as big as possible so you have more to sell, and we know that, okay? And you want them to do this as quickly as possible so you spend less money on feeding them. All right, this is an analogy on growth and maturity. A salmon farmer wants rapid growth. Now, and some of us, because I know when I was little, you know how, hey, maturing, growth and maturity. And I used to say, what is it, Simon Croquet? Did anybody else used to do the Simon Croquet? And so we know it's salmon croquet, croquets. Salmon croquet. Okay, anyway, it's salmon. All right. So now the problem with most salmon species is that they are anadromous. Okay, fish. All right, I'm going to see because I just powered this computer up after months of not being powered up. And this is my older laptop because that other laptop I ruined, and then well, hey, I don't know whether it's ruined or not, but I know I wasted that hot coffee on it. It hasn't served me at all. It won't even come on. All right, here I've got to get the pronunciation of this. You know how I am about words. Anadromous, anadromous, anadromous. Okay. All right. All right. Hey, hey, hey. Got that. So the problem with most salmon species is that they are anadromous fish. And that means it's of a fish is such as a salmon migrating up rivers from the sea to spawn. Okay. They migrate upriver from the sea to spawn, so that's what anadromous means, and have an interesting life cycle. Unfortunately for the salmon farmers, this means that as they mature, they become less valuable. Hmm. Prior to getting ready to spawn, they undergo a few changes. Prior to getting ready to spawn, they undergo a few changes. They might grow a hump, a scary looking hook jaw, and canine like teeth. Great for a salmon looking to reproduce, but not for the salmon farmer. They want the energy in their feed to be converted into valuable salmon flesh, not into their skin or other unsavory morphological characteristics. So when they feed them, they want that feed to go into making a good, quick salmon that's good for a sale, and the meat is good and everything, and it can't be too old. All right. So a salmon farmer wants fish that exhibit slow maturation. Now, this is probably where the analogy needs to end, but it is a great example of the differences between the two. You can have or want one and not the other, although they are related. So when it comes to youth, they both must be understood, measured, and considered in the broader context. All right. Now let me go back over here and get one of these others. I hope you are liking this because I'm liking it. I like to present, we all do, like to present something that we don't think about every day, something that's different and something that makes us think about different things. That was intellectual development. During this period, they team rudiments of reading and writing through play activities. In this stage, preschool education has assumed great importance in the eyes of modern psychologists. During this stage, you're talking about the intellectual development. No, we're talking about infancy, number one. And so we're in the third part of this intellectual development. Now we're going to emotional development. Emotional refers to distinct emotional expressions like as pain, pleasure, fear, anger, affection, etc. At this stage, the emotions begin to be organized into sentiment. So the emotional attraction gets stronger at this stage. So now we've done the physical development, we've done the language development, and this is all, we can all really agree with this, the development stage and intellectual development. Now, and the next, an emotional development. Then social development. Home is a primary social environment, and we cannot stress that enough. The children, they learn their first things from the home. Home is the primary social environment, and the mother is the first teacher of the child. The mother, whoever has that mother's role, is the first teacher of the child. And so, a mother, depending on what kind of person she is, and sometimes now men adopt children. And so they take on the role as the mother and the father. So whichever it is, home is the primary social environment, and the mother slash guardian is the first teacher of the child. Next, he gets the first lesson in social behavior and manner. Next, he learns how to behave and converse with another member of the family. The next one, then to social contact and neighborhood and friends circle. That's social development. Now, the second stage here is going into childhood. That stage is infancy. The second stage is going into childhood. Wow. Development characteristics of this stage. The period between 5 years to 12 years may be designated as a period of childhood. This stage is marked by rapid development in physical and mental spheres. SPHERES. All right. Thank you for being with me. So the first part of this is the physical development. Now we're in childhood. We're in childhood. We were in infancy, we were in childhood. And the question is there a difference between maturing and growing and maturing? Okay. Physical development. This is the period of steady physical growth. Next, the height and weight increase. Next, improvement in motor development, skill, and endurance. Next, a child at this stage is physically restless. Therefore, he must engage himself in one or other activity and keep himself busy. And this says this age limit is from 5 years to 12, so that infancy is 0 to 2. Infants begin growing at 6 months. Huh. Okay. So, and they play catch at 2 years and have considerable skills by 6 years. So, we've heard that saying about the terrible twos. These children are something else when they turn two. They call it the terrible twos, but it's the blessed twos too, isn't it? Oh, yes, it is. We've all gone through that stage. So, here we go. Intellectual development. Language development. Wow, we have so much to do. Infancy, and this is childhood. All right, 5 years to 12, okay? The mental, the moral, and emotional development. During this stage, the emotions get established, and there is more of emotional stability. Talking about from 15. That's what we're talking about. So his conduct is mostly governed by the religious and moral training received at home and school. Next, a very intelligent and careful guidance is required at this stage to bring about the right and moral conduct of the children during this stage. And that is so true. That is so true. And I thank God for my children. And I was talking with my cousin the other day, and I just thank God how people just, compliment us, because everybody has, we run into something while we're bringing our children up. Our parents ran into different things because especially if you have more than one child, because every child is different in some way or another, in more than one way. So this is very, very, very important. So we're talking about childhood. During this stage, the emotions get established, and there is more of emotional stability. Next, his conduct is mostly governed by the religious and moral training received at home and school. A very intellectual, which is the next one, and careful guidance. Very intellectual and careful guidance is required at this stage to bring about the right and moral conduct of the children during this stage. The next stage is adolescence. Adolescence is the place of human development during which boys and girls move their childhood to adulthood mentally, emotionally, physically, and socially. What is adolescence? Adolescence is the place of human development during which boys and girls move from childhood to adulthood. And what is it? Mentally, they move emotionally, they move physically, and socially. So this is how we did it, everybody. This is how we did it. What happened to the rest of it? And this is by Bijou Samuel, the author and co-founder of Wide Education. See, I knew it had to be from a different country because of how the sentences were formed and appeared and everything. Okay, next, the difference between maturation and growth. I'm going to go back to where I started because I had found some really, really good ones, but because I had to change the computers and all of that, then those that, let me see if I can get those that came up on my email, because my email is on this computer. So depending on how fast this computer goes, I should be able to bring it up before it's time. Oh, look, I am really moving along. Thank you so much for being with me, and I ask you to please share. I look on there, and I'm thankful. I'm really thankful for you being and those who share. Those who share, it is up to you if you want to share or not. Either way, I am just thankful and grateful that you are here. I really am. I really am. So this is really, really good. I am so happy about this webcast today. And Reedy, of course, she works on Tuesdays. Merethah works on Tuesdays. And Eula, like I was saying the other day, and she was on Thursday with me. I believe she was on here Thursday. She wears many hats. And so we understand that. So Alexa has given me a notification. I'm expecting a package. Alexa, what is my notification?
One new notification from Alexa News. From CNN. CNN breaking news alerts. 1:55 p.m. ET. SCOTUS revives ghost gun restrictions. Do you want to hear more about this?
No, don't want to hear about that. All right. Growth and maturation, the difference between them. All right. And so I thank God that I've never had a package stolen. I thank Him for that. And I'm just so, and there's no brag, it's just being grateful, okay? Being grateful. Because we see every day, if we watch our phones, our computers, where someone, if we have like the cameras and their alerts come up, talking about people stealing people's packages off the porch and everything. And I'm going to say this, and I know I'm on maturation, but I just thank God. Once I was coming in from a worship from a program we had, and I had my uh, speaker with me, and I was bringing the things in the house. And so the next morning, I was looking for my speaker, and I had left that speaker on the porch. all night long, and God preserved it and didn't let anybody steal that speaker. And so, I mean, I'm just thankful for things like that because we know the things that go on now. I try to remember to do things and check behind myself and everything. Sometimes we just don't get everything but I'm thankful for that. So let me go into this growth and maturation and try to find another one before it's time for me to sign off because this is really, really good for me. Uh, Science, growth, development, and maturation in children and adolescents. Let me see here. Okay, and sometimes they use instead of maturation, they use development. So I'm going to go to psychology discussion and see what they are talking about. I don't think I've ever been in psychology discussion before. So I'm going to pull that up and see what they are talking about. And psychology today, that's one of my favorites. And what is the other one? There's another psychology uh, pa- page that I like also. Well, it looks like it's not coming up as fast as I wanted to. They say growth and development on many of these. I'm taking my time. Thank you for being here with me. I appreciate it. Oh, I really do. I really do. Oh, wow. I think I want to do this one. Science and Education Publishers, and it's pubs.scipub.com. It's pubs dot SCIEPUB.com /AJSSM. So let me go to this page and then I will be for today finished. And Clee is Clee was asleep on Thursday. And I know sometimes she works double shifts. And so I thought about that and I said, well, I'm not going to bother her, but I did text her. And then when she did wake up and send a text back, she said she was asleep. And so I'm glad I didn't bother her. I'm glad I didn't bother her, but God willing, she will be with us this week if the Lord delays his coming. Okay? Now, abstract. We're talking about growth, development, and maturity in children and adolescents. Relation, and this is talking about sports and physical activity. And I've come across a lot of these uh, with the sports, talking about the sports. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one. Growth and physical maturation are dynamic processes encompassing a broad spectrum of cellular and somatic changes. The most obvious signs of physical growth are changes in overall body size. Now, the children of the same age may differ in rate of physical growth. Ethnic variations in growth rates are also common. Thus, growth norms, age-related averages of childhood and adolescence, okay? Although, no, let me go back. Ethnic variations in growth and rate are also common. Thus, growth norms, age-related averages for height and weight, must be applied cautiously, okay? The norms should be applied cautiously because you hear it right here said there are differences in the ethnic groups too in the growth and maturation. All right. And we've seen different people, different groups of people. We've seen groups of people who are very small people. We've seen groups that are very tall, short, very short and small, very tall and big sometimes. So they said we must be careful, be careful. It must be applied cautiously. Physical growth, like other aspects of development, results from a complex interplay between genetic and environment factors. Moreover, the endocrine glands also control the vast physical changes of childhood and adolescence. Although heredity remains important. It really does. Okay? It really does. And we all know this, don't we? Although heredity remains important, environmental factors continue to affect genetic expressions. Good nutrition, relative freedom from disease, and emotional well being are essentials to children's healthy development. Changes in size, proportions, and muscle strength support an explosion of new gross motor skills. Physical activity is needed for normal growth and development. Physical activity is needed for normal growth and development. Further, the psychological, social, and physical development process project powerful influences on sport participation. And so many people, I think many people aspire to have their children to get into sports and excel in sports and all of that. That's a lot of good physical activity if it's done in the right way. I'm going to say it like that. Because sometimes I feel like that they work these athletes too hard. I know they have goals that they have set, they're trying to accomplish, but goodness, my goodness, some of the things that they have to go through and all of that. And I've been in sports too. I've been in track, so I understand that. I've been in softball. I played basketball, so I understand that. I really do understand that. Okay, so but we have to really be careful. So changes in size, proportions, and muscle strength support an explosion of new gross motor skills. Physical activity is needed for normal growth and development and for young people to reach their potential in muscle and bone development. Further, the psychological, social, and physical development process project powerful influences on sport participation. Sports scientists, physicians, and physical educators must be familiar with the normal patterns of growth and development of the child and adolescent. And that doesn't mean that you lump all of the athletes in the same little boat or whatever and judge each one of them maturation and growth, say they all do it the same way because it's not the same. Everybody is different. Sports scientists, physicians, and physical educators must be familiar with the normal patterns of growth and development of the child and adolescent. So this allows finding out deviations during the pre-participation examination. And now I don't know whether they have to do it for band or not now, but I know to be in sports, they have to have a physical examination by a doctor or a healthcare provider, and they have to be in good physical condition in order to be able to participate in sports. And I believe that that's the way it should be. So this allows finding out deviations during the pre-participation examination, guiding children into appropriate activities, aiding them in setting realistic goals concerning sports participation. It also provides guidance to the community and coaches in the design of safe and effective training, of a safe and effective training program. And then we have an introduction. Growth refers to measurable changes in size, physique, and body composition and various systems of the body, whereas maturation refers to progress toward the mature state. The processes of growth and maturation are related and both influence physical performance. There are three broad stages of development. There's the early childhood, the middle childhood, and adolescence. So the definitions of these stages are organized around the primary tasks of development in each stage, though the boundaries of these stages are malleable. First part, growth in stature is rapid in infancy and early childhood, rather steady during middle childhood, rapid during the adolescent spurt, and then slow as adult stature is attained. Oh, 157. Oh, I do really want to continue this. If you would like to hear me continue this, but I'm going, growth and maturity, and then number two of this first section. This pattern of growth is generally similar for body weight and other dimensions, with the exception of subcutaneous fat and fat distribution. The growth rate of stature, I'm being very careful with this computer. The growth rate of stature is highest during the first year of life, then gradually declines until the onset of the adolescent growth spurt, about 10 years in girls and 12 years in boys. Because we do, we grow faster than boys at a certain age, because sometimes we be taller than them, and then later on in life, and as the years go by, a few years later, they might be taller than us and more filled out than us. So this is neat. So with the spurt, growth rate increases, reaching a peak of about 12 years in girls and 14 years in boys, and then gradually declines and eventually ceases with the attainment of adult stature. And so that's what I was talking about earlier. Okay. So in adolescence, the skeleton first grows in size and length, after which it gains in density and strength. So the principal sites of growth before the start of rapid adolescent growth are in the legs and arms. During the adolescent growth spurt, the trunk grows most rapidly. The long bones of the arms and legs increase their length by the activity of specialized cells located in a so-called growth plate at either end of the shaft of the long bones. So as growth nears completion, okay, so see, there we go. We're going back to that because I did read that we stop growing at a certain time, okay? So as growth nears completion in later adolescence, the growth plate ceases its function, fuses firmly with the shaft of the long bone if it's normal. Okay, thank you so much for being with me. I really appreciate your being with me. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your attentiveness. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you so much. And please, please do all you can to enjoy the remainder of your day. You know what? I'm praying for and with you. And I thank you for praying for and with me because I really enjoy doing this. And look, I'm working on it. You remember a while back, I said we're going to take call-ins on the telephone. So I'm working on that because I would really love to hear your voices. And thank you so much for the comments. And please keep commenting in the text box and all of that. But I want people to hear your voice, hear your opinions, what you're thinking. I want them to hear you say it, okay? I love you so much. Please enjoy your day. Thank you, thank you, thank you.